Other sects. The New Testament mentions Herodians and Zealots, groups of Jews at opposite ends of the political spectrum. The Herodians appear to have been Jews of influence and standing who were well disposed to the Herodian rule and, as a result, to the Romans who supported the Herods. The Zealots, on the other hand, were super-patriots who determined to resist Rome at all costs. Their fanaticism brought on the war during which the army of Titus destroyed Jerusalem and its temple around AD 70. The Apocrypha. The term Apocrypha is used to designate a collection of ancient Jewish writings which were written between about 250 BC and the early Christian centuries. The apocryphal books have come to be regarded as inspired scripture in the theology of the Roman Catholic Church, but the historic Protestant and Jewish viewpoint ascribes no real inspiration to them. Why Protestants reject them? While Protestants study the Apocrypha for the light it throws on the life and thought of pre-Christian Judaism, they reject it as inspired scripture for the following reasons. 1. The apocryphal books were not a part of the Old Testament of Jesus and the early church. The threefold division of the Old Testament, the Law, the Prophets, and the Writings, still used in Hebrew Bibles and Jewish versions of the Old Testament, does not include the apocryphal books and never did. While the Apocrypha was known to Jesus and his disciples, they never quote from it as authoritative scripture. 2. Ancient Jewish writers who used the Greek Bible, notably Philo and Josephus, were acquainted with the Apocrypha but never quoted as scripture. The apocryphal book of 2nd Esdras mentions 24 books, corresponding to the Hebrew Bible as it is known today, and 70 other writings which are esoteric in nature. It is significant that this apocryphal book shows an acquaintance with the acknowledged Old Testament canon as known in the synagogue and in the Protestant churches. 3. Church fathers who were familiar with the Hebrew canon clearly distinguish between canonical and apocryphal writings. The writings of Melito of Sardis, Cyril of Jerusalem, and St. Jerome show a recognition of the difference between inspired scripture and apocrypha. 4. The apocryphal books were never declared to be authoritative scripture until the Council of Trent in 1546. At that time the following apocryphal books were declared canonical: Tobit, Judith, the Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiasticus, Baruch, including the letter of Jeremiah, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, the additions to Esther, and the additions to Daniel such as Susanna, the Song of the Three Young Men, and Bel and the Dragon. Many Roman Catholic scholars distinguish between proto-canonical books and deuterocanonical books in the Apocrypha. 5. Most readers feel that the apocryphal books represent a lower level of writing than that of the canonical scriptures. They contain numerous historical and geographical inaccuracies and anachronisms, and do not breathe the prophetic spirit so evident in canonical writings. The Westminster Confession of 1643 states that the books commonly called Apocrypha, not being of divine inspiration, are no part of the canon of Scripture, and therefore are of no authority in the Church of God, or to be any otherwise approved or made use of than other human writing. The Reformed churches have not encouraged the use of the Apocrypha, and as a consequence it is seldom used in contemporary Protestantism. The Anglican Church in its 39 articles takes a mediating position, holding that the Church doth read the apocryphal books for example of life and instruction of manners, but yet doth it not apply them to confess any doctrine. In addition to the books commonly called Apocrypha, there is a wide variety of other ancient literature, both Jewish and Christian, to which the name pseudepigrapha is often applied. Apocrypha, pseudepigrapha, sectarian literature from the Qumran caves, and a wide variety of other ancient writings provide helpful material for understanding the world of the New Testament and the early Church. While not on a par with inspired scripture, such writings merit close examination.